Welcome, everyone, to this Writing Center workshop. I'm Michelle Roby Gannon. I run the Writing Center and this series of workshops with generous volunteer help from various wonderful presenters. I would ask that you put away any electronic devices that you're not using to write or take notes so that you aren't distracted and your neighbors aren't distracted. And toward the end of this workshop, I will distribute comment cards for those of you who are here in the room, so you can write down your instructor's name if your instructor needs to be notified that you were here at the workshop tonight. And for the online people, we'll provide you with a survey link. So we're going to go ahead and get started here in just a minute. Everybody has these sheets on your tables, the Deb Gray and gold sheets. These are the Deb Gray one is about the Writing Center. It has our contact information, our hours. Notice we have shorter hours the first 3 weeks and then long hours the rest of the semester to take advantage of. You can schedule an appointment or drop in. We welcome both. We, of course, recommend that you make an appointment if you can. You'll see answers to commonly asked questions about the Writing Center, what we do. We help you with any kind of writing that you're working on. Even if you haven't gotten started yet, you've just got an assignment sheet. We can help you talk about the assignment, think about it, and then get started writing, as the case may be. Or if you've got a full draft or partial draft, bring that in too, and we can help you strengthen you as a writer, help you strengthen that piece of writing. On the back side of the sheet, you'll see instructions for how to schedule an appointment online. So, looks more complicated than it actually is. The gold sheet, you'll see we've got jam-packed, I think 16, maybe 17 workshops here. And you'll see the one coming up for next week is media analysis on September 5th. And for those of you who are English 101, you'll be writing a media analysis assignment or essay at some point if you haven't started already. And so definitely a good workshop to attend. And even if you're not English 101, you may be interested in the topic. And take a look through the other workshops that are offered, because there may be some others that pertain to you that you might want to attend. Okay, so instructor Marcella Raymond, she has graciously volunteered to do this workshop for us. Please give her your complete attention. Take notes. There will be a hands-on activity. So if you want to have notes, be prepared.
Welcome, everybody, and thanks for having me, Michelle. I'm going to talk about writing basic paragraphs. And one of the things I wish I had been taught as an undergraduate is how much a paragraph is like an essay. It didn't occur to me until much later in my academic career, but a paragraph is really a tiny little essay. And an essay is really built exactly like a paragraph. So we're going to look at the paragraph, and if you can master that, you can master the essay. So you'll want to take some notes because you'll all be writing a little later, and the notes will help you. Michelle already asked you to do that. Okay, so all paragraphs have 3 basic parts. And it doesn't matter if the paragraph is in a research paper, in a media analysis essay, in a business report, in a medical narrative. All paragraphs are built the same way with the same 3 parts. And those three parts are the topic sentence, and we'll look at each of these parts in more detail. The topic sentence, the body sentences, and the concluding or sometimes transitional sentence. So first, the topic sentence. A topic sentence gives the main point of the paragraph. This tells people what your paragraph will be about. And the topic sentence is always going to have two parts, the topic and the controlling idea. The topic is always going to be the subject of your paragraph, and the controlling idea is always going to be the point you want to make about that subject. So if you look at our example, civility is more important today than ever before. And you can see that civility is in red, that's the topic, the subject. Is more important today than ever before is the controlling idea or the point I want to make about civility. So topic and controlling idea, and you put those two things together and you get the topic sentence. Okay, body sentences. These sentences, I think we're always, or many of us are taught somewhere along the way that your goal is to prove something in your writing. I don't know that we ever really prove anything because there will always be readers who disagree. But you want to get readers to be persuaded to move closer to your point of view, to see the merits of your point of view. And the body sentences are the sentences that provide evidence to help you build support for your topic sentence. So body sentences can include details, explanation, maybe expert, quotations from experts, and other kinds of evidence. Sometimes in comp, we call these RENs, which stands for reasons, examples, names, numbers, and statistics. So body sentences build your case for the topic sentence. If I want to prove, although again I probably won't prove it, but if I want to show that civility is more important today than ever before, my body sentences are going to explain why it's more important than ever before. Sometimes students struggle with how to come up with body sentences that are clearly related to the topic sentence. And one thing we talk about all the time in composition is the research question. The research question is always a question that you feel needs an answer, and the answer to the research question ends up being the foundation of your argument or your persuasion, your case. So if you can imagine what questions your topic sentence might generate, and then come up with your own answers to those questions, those answers become your body sentences. It sounds complicated, but it really isn't. And I'll give you an example. So again, my topic sentence is, civility is more important today than ever before. So one question that raises in my mind is, why is civility important? I'm saying it's more important than ever before, but why is it important? And my answer to that imaginary question is because we live in a global community. We're not separate. We're not all little islands anymore. We live in a global community, and that makes civility important. But what difference does that global community make? How does that have an impact on civility? Well, if we live in a global community, we have to learn to coexist peacefully. So again, the answer to my imaginary question. How can we learn to peacefully coexist? Well, my answer is that one person practicing tolerance can begin the process. You know, my argument is going to include the idea that you can only be responsible for yourself. That if you're civil, you model that civility for other people. I can only be in charge of myself. So a logical question that comes out of that is, but one person can't make a difference, right? You know, how can one person alone make a difference? And my answer is that person leads by example and models civility for others. So it spreads. You know, if you're civil, that civility spreads. First of all, I should back way up and ask, do you guys all know what I mean when I say civility? What's civility?
Like keeping the peace.
Yes, it's living together as citizens, coexisting as citizens. So civil people engage with each other in a respectful manner. Thank you. Okay, and then a concluding sentence. In a single paragraph, the concluding sentence wraps everything up nice and neat. In a longer essay, the concluding sentence of a paragraph can also serve as a transition into the next paragraph. So if you look at my concluding sentence, this is the only way we will solve problems such as crime, hunger, and environmental threats. What 3 ideas do you think I'm going to tackle next in my, let's say I decide to go beyond the paragraph and write an essay on civility. What 3 aspects do you think I'm going to talk about coming up?
Crime, hunger, and
Very good, thank you. Exactly, crime, hunger, and environmental threats. So I can lead into those ideas in my concluding sentence. Okay, so now if you put them all together, you get this really nice paragraph. Civility is more important today than ever before. We live in a global community. We must learn to peacefully coexist and respect one another. One person practicing tolerance can begin the process. That person can lead by example and model civility for others. And then you see I have the word civility in brackets. That's because in my original concluding sentence it said, this is the only way we will solve problems. But I wanted to remind my readers that this is civility, that's what I'm talking about. So civility is the only way we will solve problems such as crime, hunger, and environmental threats. So does everybody see kind of how I built that paragraph just with those 3 parts? Everybody kind of see that? Okay, here's another paragraph that I've broken down in the same way. Topic sentence, aquarium fish do more than just sit there. Owning fish can teach a person about responsibility. There's one way in which aquarium fish do more than just sit there. This can help prepare a person for greater responsibilities later. That's a subpoint to how owning fish can teach a person responsibility. Also, that's a transitional word that helps lead smoothly from one sentence to the next. Also, maintaining a tank and fish can be an enjoyable hobby. In addition, another transitional phrase, watching fish can slow a person's breathing and lower her or his blood pressure. So, another transitional word. So, if a person wants to enjoy the benefits of companion pets, but isn't ready for a dog or cat, fish can be a good choice. So you can see that the paragraph, even though it's longer, is made exactly the same way. Topic sentence, body sentences that build on whatever idea I present in the topic sentence, and then a conclusion. Okay, a couple other things we need to consider when we're writing paragraphs are coherence and unity. So first we'll look at coherence. Coherence means things follow in a logical order. So one sentence leads smoothly into the next sentence. And one way we do this is through those transitional words and phrases. They help us link sentences together in a logical way. Another way we do this is just by organizing the sentence and thinking about the order of the sentences in the paragraph. So if you look at my sample paragraph, we live in a global community. One person practicing tolerance can begin the process. Civility is more important today than ever before. That person can teach their children, lead others by example, and call on their government to be more civil. This is the only way we will solve problems such as crime, hunger, and environmental threats. Can you see anything in that paragraph that looks like it's out of order? Say that again. That person, yes. So we can't just jump in there out of nowhere and say that person. No, our readers aren't going to know who that person is, right? That sentence has to come after one person practicing tolerance so that we know that person is that one person, right? We have to pull out that sentence, civility is more important today than ever before, and put it somewhere else. Does everybody see that? Okay. Okay, and unity means every sentence in your paragraph should have something to do with your topic sentence. So you don't have any sentences in your paragraph that are off topic. Maybe you've got sentences in your paragraph that belong in a new paragraph of their own or that you need to take out. But you want to make sure that in a unified paragraph, all the sentences relate to the topic sentence. Okay, so here's my example. Civility is more important today than ever before. We live in a global community. We must learn to peacefully coexist and respect one another. Some people think that ethnic diversity weakens our nation, but it actually makes life richer. One person practicing tolerance can begin the process. So find me a sentence that doesn't belong in that paragraph. Yes?
Would it be the diversity one?
Yeah, why do you think that doesn't belong in there?
Because they're talking about civilization and then they just randomly start talking about the diversity.
That's exactly right, because we can see from the topic sentence that the whole paragraph should be about why civility is more important today than ever before, right? That's what the paragraph should be about. It shouldn't be about ethnic diversity and whether it strengthens or weakens the nation. That'd be a great new paragraph in an essay about civility, but it doesn't belong in this paragraph. Okay, so if we go back to that original slide, the 3 parts of a paragraph, remember that it's topic sentence, which has a topic or a subject and a controlling idea, the body sentences that provide evidence for that topic sentence idea, and the concluding sentence or possibly transitional sentence. So here's what I wish I'd known early in my academic career. Those 3 parts of a paragraph are the same in an essay. So instead of a topic sentence telling what the entire paragraph is about, in an essay, you have a thesis statement that tells what the entire essay is about. And the thesis statement, just like the topic sentence, has those 2 parts, the topic and the controlling idea. The first paragraph of an essay has both a topic sentence and a thesis statement. Usually, but not always, usually the topic sentence comes at the beginning of the first paragraph and the thesis statement comes at the end of the first paragraph. And then a paragraph has body sentences that build on the topic sentence idea. But in the same way, an essay has body paragraphs that build on the thesis statement idea. So every body paragraph, just like you want a unified paragraph and all the sentences should have something to do with the topic sentence, in an essay, you want a unified essay where all the body paragraphs have something to do with the thesis statement. So same thing. And then finally, a paragraph has a concluding sentence and an essay has a concluding paragraph. And they do the same thing. So an essay is really just a series of related paragraphs stacked on top of one another. And a paragraph is really just a mini essay. Does that make sense to everybody? Do you have any questions? Anybody? Okay, now you. This is the fun part.
I'll try and break you up a little bit.
We're going to see if we can split you into smaller groups.
And then
If 3 of you want to go over to this table right here,
just move over to this table. Just gonna move over here and go in before.
You guys should be okay. Each group of 4 of you is going to get one sheet.
One group of 5.
That's right.
So like,
See, one group of 5.
No. Okay, so while she's doing that, first I want to tell you that those microphones on your table work. And you have to push the button and hold it down while you're speaking, which you will be doing soon. So you need to designate a spokesperson in your group.
We're still silent right now.
What?
Go for it.
Not yet.
Oh. Never mind. Don't go for it.
Okay, so here's what we're going to do. In your group, you're going to choose one of the topics on the next slide. And then you're going to write, in your group, you're going to write one unified, coherent paragraph that includes a topic sentence, 3 body sentences, and a concluding sentence. And when we're all done, each group will read their paragraph out loud for the rest of us. And you can divide those sentences up any way you want. If you want to choose who's writing one, choose who's writing what, that's fine. Or if you want to all work together to write them all, that's fine too. However it works best for your group. Okay, you ready? Here are your topics: texting in class, balancing fun and studies, moving away from home for the first time. So remember that a paragraph topic sentence needs a topic and a controlling idea, right? So the topic plus the point you're going to make about the topic. I've given you the topic, but you have to come up with a controlling idea in your group. So go ahead and do that, and we'll take about 20 minutes and see how you're doing.
And distance students will write their own paragraph?
That's what I'm having them do.
Okay, great.
There's, I think 6 of them.
6 distance students?
Yeah.
You're not really isolated.
Teaching my first online class.
You're in a different atmosphere. You don't know.
How's it going?
So far,
So I used to.
So what students were like gain your independence?
wait to see more writing.
You want. Yeah. So like, yeah. These are. So what is that?
You've gotten better and better at taking photos, knowing when to take them.
So it has to be
There is what like they're active.
Right, involved, less
Yeah.
self-conscious.
It helps when they don't pay attention and everything.
Yeah.
It benefits them to go do some other.
Yep, that's smart.
Sinuses are so.
Crazy. Yeah. Few people see it.
They have too short for this.
Oh, it probably goes down.
There's some way to make it.
Well,
I'll steal Liz's chair. It's kind of a crazy chair. I decided it's hard to get it up or down. And then
This
one or that one?
These
I really
ones are
like
nice.
that one. Yeah. But I'd have to put it down.
I've been composting with my learning classes on their paragraphs, so it's very interesting to see that. I've been hammering home the whole topic sentence with the topic and controlling it. Which I forget where they have trouble is that also RENs.
Right.
I thought the S stood for sensory detail. Because numbers,
It does stand for sensory. It stands for sensory information, is the way I read it. But I say statistics because,
isn't that numbers? And numbers?
yeah, I guess it would be. It is a little repetitive, yeah. But sensory information.
Yeah.
That,
Appeals to the senses.
well, it's, yeah, even then, it's a hard concept. 101 plus students to get.
We did parts of speech and sort of focused on names and adjectives. I made them come up, I gave them generic nouns and adjectives, and they had to put some more colorful specific ones. So that's how we did it. But
Yeah, I have.
whether that follows to connection, we'll see.
I sometimes have some metaphors
Yeah.
for vague nouns.
Yeah.
say different times.
I just think the sheer act of writing a concept is what really.
Oh, absolutely.
We have more time
Sometimes I
to
just try to overlook, not obsess.
Right. And really, it's just writing and then feedback.
Yep. Yeah.
That's what
And trying to get them into the writing center. It's hard. The group that most needs it often is the least likely. You're very good at people in.
I have a rubric for every assignment. And the last thing on every rubric is a little space that says I strongly recommend this blank for help with, and then there's a blank. So I check that and then I write verb tense or whatever. I think well and plus can't always identify their own.
Right, they can. And that was the savvy teacher who was clearly told them, you have a problem with blah.
Are you guys done already? Okay. You're just hard at work.
Remember, you'll be sharing.
Yay!
You and I were in this completely sarcastic paragraphs,
Oh, yeah.
mocking the presenter.
Yeah, absolutely. Testing class is extremely necessary
Yeah.
to prevent fatigue.
What's the fun in balance? There's no fun in balance.
You actually make sure you're having fun. You say that, like, you're gonna want to make sure you have fun.
Last Friday night, I sort of gave it to my hair. She forgot my hair cutting scissors, so we found a rusty pair in my medicine cabinet. Yep, she activated my hair. These aren't bad.
Where is she?
She's in Illinois, but she's been taking care of her mother with ED and has health problems. And but she gets around. She's doing online legal writing, so that helps her do it pretty much from anywhere. Yeah, Illinois. So that's been difficult. She was just back here to see Calvin before he went back to school.
So just write that.
He's gonna have his last year. Wow. Game design.
Where's he going?
It's a school in Burlington, Vermont,
You
but
have to make sure you have fun.
I don't know, I can't remember the name of it. It's one of the specially for things like game design. Yeah. So, seems to like it, and I'm envious. He's in Burlington, which I town I really like. It's a really nice town. I always thought if I wanted to live someplace else, that would be it.
So whenever you're in
It's fun.
Do you need a few more minutes?
Okay. This is a, they said it online too, plus please, in response to one.
Got it. I want to figure out how to collaborate.
Yeah.
I want to figure out how to make little short videos of collaborating for my online class.
You could make recordings, in, like, you could use PowerPoint in there, you could just upload it in there and record yourself going through the PowerPoint.
Well, I just want,
Or you could post your picture,
yeah,
or you could
I just
do
want like
video.
little, yeah, videos is what I want. Just little short videos where, let's say we're talking about, verbs,
Whatever it might be.
whatever it might be, you know.
So like
I
a
wanna
brief-
walk around my house and say, I'm touching this, I'm strumming my guitar, you know, just goofy videos so that they can see my face. For that online class especially.
Would that be hard for her to do,
Or I could just record a little video of my phone.
I think that would
and
almost
upload it
be,
to YouTube.
I think if you wanted just like a face-to-face video, that might be a little easier because you would have to. I mean, you could do it on here, but you'd have to do your computer camera because then that's how that
I should
video would.
just walk around with my phone and do it.
Upload it to YouTube and have it be a
I think that would be
Because then it'll
easier.
close
Semi-private
caption too.
just do a semi-private link. Yeah. One where anybody you give the link to can access it, but it won't be searchable.
Right.
I feel like combo would be better. And then
I love when I hear after like a combo.
Feel like what?
A combo.
okay, so an example would be
That is engaged. We'll probably want to give them a couple minute warning or something.
would be showing up to class.
That'll motivate them to finish.
Okay, so would be showing up to class.
Sounds like they're still coming up with things.
Results gonna drop. Yeah. We're showing an example. It's like a because here's yeah. Are you, yeah, but I have a question. Okay, do you think we're getting off the topic over here because we put another example that you are more accountable for your actions as a girl? An example would be showing up to class late if results. Okay. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Yeah, because then you have a problem.
Thank you for that. That's again. Ended it at late. Okay.
All right, take 2 more minutes to wrap them up and look everything over. And then we'll read. I'm going to say that into the mic for the distance learning students. Take a couple more minutes to wrap them up, and then we'll read.
At the faculty meeting I held, did Darlene put up the cover of the red coyote?
Yeah, it looked good. Yeah, nice work.
I had to hire somebody to do it. Didn't have a student. It's gorgeous.
Nice.
Okay, I think we'll start down here in the corner. You guys? Yes, thank you. And if you would push the button while you speak, I think you have to hold the button down while you talk.
Okay.
Thank you.
So our topic 10 is texting in school has become a problem, especially with young students. For instance, this is the first point about the sentence. For instance, students aren't paying attention in class because they're busy looking at their phones, which thereby leading to our second point, distracting other students who are trying to learn. Then our third point, which makes it harder for students to pass the class. Our concluding sentence is, in conclusion, it's best to turn your phone off until class is over.
Okay, thank you. What do you think? I'll tell you what I really like about it. they chose a direction for their paragraph. So their paragraph isn't just in general about texting in class, it's about the repercussions of texting in class. This is why it's not a good idea. So, and they did a really good job of staying focused on that direction. So, good. Okay, how about right here?
Moving away from home can be a difficult.
Wait, we gotta hear you.
Sorry.
Yeah, if you can hold down the mic button and keep holding it down.
Thanks. Moving away from home can be a difficult period for anyone. It signifies a major change in a person's life. It generally happens around college. The beginning is generally
It's hard when you have a whole bunch of different people writing.
in the beginning generally major hurdles. However, as time passes, it sorry, I'm really sorry. It's not my writing.
That's okay.
Yeah, sure.
You're doing okay.
Moving away from home for the first time can be a difficult period for anyone. It signifies a major change in a person's life. This generally happens around the time kids leave for college. In the beginning, they generally face major hurdles. However, as time passes, they become adjusted and used to their new surroundings. This is one of the few ways people come out of their comfort zones.
Okay, thank you. I'll tell you what I like about that paragraph. It moves, it has a definite trajectory. It kind of moves from just information about moving away for the first time to sort of a hopeful conclusion about coming out of your shell or out of your comfort zone. And I like that movement through the paragraph. Okay, next.
All right. Moving away from home for the first time can be stressful. One reason would be that you gain independence because you do not have the financial and emotional support from your family. Another example is you are more accountable for your actions. An example would be showing up to class late. The final reason is you learn how to manage your time better by getting a set schedule. In conclusion, gaining independence, being accountable for your actions, and learning time management are some things that make moving away from home for the first time stressful.
Okay, thank you. Okay, what do you like about it? What do you guys like about it? They give good specific examples. What else? There's kind of a mixture of the stresses of moving away and the possible solutions to that stress, right? Keeping to a set schedule. So, good. Okay?
Texting in class should not be allowed by students and professors in order to be successful. It distracts students from getting their education. When students are on the phone, they zone out, which impairs them from learning the content. Texting in class distracts others. When phones constantly buzz and ring, it can prevent students from focusing and interrupts teaching. It takes students' learning time away when the professor is on the phone, which wastes your money that you pay for tuition. If students and professors are texting in class, it prohibits the teaching and learning necessary to succeed.
Okay, what do you think? What do you like about it? It was good?
Yeah.
Okay, what else did you like about it? I like that they included professors.
Yeah.
Not just students. Seriously, do professors text in class? It's horrible. Okay, but I'm glad you included them.
Yeah.
It was pretty inclusive.
We're all part of the problem and the solution.
Yes,
Yep.
we are. Okay, next.
Balancing fun and studies can be difficult while one attends college. It can be difficult because you and your friends have different schedules and it is hard to meet up. Also, one has to complete homework for a variety of classes, which can be time consuming. One last thing that can make balancing fun and studies difficult is when one becomes involved on campus. Overall, balancing fun and studies can be challenging, but if one really wants to be involved, it is worth it.
Okay, what do you think? What do you like about it? It's true. Yeah, absolutely. And one thing I really like about it is, so the topic sentence is balancing fun and studies. That's the topic, right? And the controlling idea is it can be difficult. And then they list the difficulties, and they don't come to, but at just read your last sentence again.
Overall, balancing fun and studies can be challenging, but if one really wants to be involved, it is worth it.
Okay, so they come back to the topic sentence idea, but there's a cliffhanger, there's a potential hint at what's coming next. So that was kind of nice. Okay.
Balancing fun and studies is not easy to do, but balancing fun and studies is not easy to do. One reason why is being in a new environment brings more responsibility when it comes to studying. Another reason is college students have to manage their time effectively because they are being told when to study. Also, you have to make sure you have fun on the side of studying, otherwise studying will build up and you might get too stressed out. In conclusion, balancing fun and studies isn't going to be easy, but just give it some time and effort.
Good. I like that it's kind of an up and down paragraph where they present the challenge and then the solution, challenge and then solution. That was really a nice organization. Okay.
Moving away from home can be the start of a new experience. After you move out of your home and live in a new area, you begin to meet new people and make new friends. You begin to figure out what you truly like and dislike, as well as discover things about yourself that you never knew before. It pushes you out of your comfort zone, and it is the point where you become more independent and discover all the opportunities the world has to offer. Ultimately, moving away from home for the first time can be an amazing start to your new life.
Okay, what do you think? I like how positive that paragraph is. And I also, in your paragraph too, I really like that you talked about the need for the fun side, right? You didn't just talk about the need for studying, because I think that fun side to alleviate stress is important. And I liked how hopeful and positive your paragraph was, all about the potential of moving away from home. So that was good. And do we have some distance learning paragraphs?
We do.
Okay.
Okay. One of the people revised his paragraph while we were posted
Nice.
a early draft and then a later draft. Okay.
Moving away from home for the first time without a plan can be intimidating and overwhelming. The separation from the comforts of home can lead to some anxiety and stress. There are new responsibilities that one must be prepared to take on, such as shopping for groceries, preparing meals, and laundry. Responsibilities and unpredictable living expenses can cause stress and potentially lead to one returning home. It is best to have a strategy and a plan in place to prepare for these stresses to successfully live away from home.
Okay, what do you think? Well done. Yep, the potential pitfalls and how to alleviate them. So that was really good.
Okay, we've got another one here. One thing that is often hard for students is learning how to manage their time for fun and for studies. Students may be involved in many extracurriculars like sports, clubs, arts, or other organizations. Keeping up with homework while participating in other activities can become overwhelming. With all that is going on, it becomes difficult to keep time for friends and family, but that time is important for maintaining those relationships. Balancing all the activities and requirements of school can be overwhelming, but with practice, managing time, students can make time for both studies and fun. That was Isley.
Okay. Yep, and I like the kind of old and new reference in that paragraph. You know, you have to make time for the old things too and not just the new stuff.
We've got one more.
Okay.
Okay, and this is Ariana. Students should not be allowed to text in class. As a student, you are in class to learn, so being on your phone shouldn't be an option. If a student does text in class, it is very distracting to the other students. It distracts them from the professor and from learning. It not only is distracting to other students, but also to the texter. The students that is texting in class is not paying attention and will not retain all of the information that the professor lectured. According to John Doe, quote, 76% of students that text in class do poorly on exams, end quote. This quote emphasizes the importance of not being allowed to text in class. Texting in class is very distracting and should not be allowed in the classroom.
Hey, what do you think? Love the fake quote.
Yeah.
Nice touch.
Yep.
Okay, great paragraphs, you guys. Do you have any questions about how you did that or what those parts are? Any questions at all?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to turn it back over to Michelle. Thanks for having me.
I'm going to distribute comment cards to you. Please fill them out completely. And I forgot to mention this, but you can get paw points for being here at the workshop. Y'all know what paw points are? I barely do. Anybody explain what the paw points are or are about?
Isn't it like the place that add up where you can get Yoke Cash or something?
Yeah.
At the end of the semester, yeah.
Okay, so if you put your student ID number on here when you fill this out, there is not a blank for the student ID, so you just need to add it on the front. And we'll make sure that you get those points. We'll get those reported.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
You can share the line.
Actually, I think I have a picture. Not many. Doesn't your floor have like the open door, like social thing? Although our floor does, and if we keep our doors open and be social, then we can get halfway back.
Okay. Yeah.
Building a barrier. Me? I'm Olsen, fourth floor. Fourth floor.
ROGG.
It's a lovely German name. It's a lovely German name.
I'm gonna go ahead and stop the online.
Okay.